The number one question I've gotten in my Marvel Snap content in recent weeks is, Jeff, when are cards from Series 5 going to demote from Series 4 to become more accessible? And when are some of these Series 4 cards going to demote to Series 3? This evening, Second Dinner gave us some very clear communication on when these demotions are going to start happening. Let's go ahead and dive on into it and talk about my opinion on what I think it means for card collecting in the future of Marvel Snap. I never like to bury the lead, so let's get you the information that you're looking for right away, and that is which cards are becoming more accessible. Super Skrull, Shuri, Valkyrie, Bast, and Black Panther are going to be demoting from Series 5 to Series 4 in the first series drop, and 4 cards from Series 4, She-Hulk, Absorbing Man, Titania, and Luke Cage, are going to be demoting from Series 4 into Series 3. Currently, these series drops are scheduled to happen in the next major Marvel Snap patch, which is going to be coming on January 31st, 2023. Now, some things that we know and things that we can potentially infer from the cards that are being demoted between series with this first demotion. For starters, all 5 of the cards you see in front of you here were included in the initial batch of Series 5 cards in November of 2022 when Series 4 and 5 cards were initially released. The 2 exceptions to this rule are Galactus and Thanos, which was my best guess when Second Dinner told us most cards would get downgraded over time. Second Dinner communicated in their post announcing these series downgrades that Galactus and Thanos will eventually move down, but because they are big, bad, iconic Marvel characters, they're going to remain rarer and harder to obtain for a longer period. My best guesstimation is that we will eventually see Galactus and Thanos demote down to Series 4 when we get other big bads like them from the Marvel Universe added in. Looking at the data mined Marvel Snap cards that have yet to be released, my best guess is we'll see Galactus and Thanos become more accessible when Kang the Conqueror and the Living Tribunal eventually make their debut in Series 5. Now, Series 4 has been a little bit different than Series 5 so far. Series 4 has not had any new additions past the initial 10 cards that were in it when the Series 4 and 5 were introduced in November of 2022. That being said, I gotta give hats off to Second Dinner for making She-Hulk, Absorbing Man, Titania, and Luke Cage the first 4 cards from this series to demote. These 4 cards are easily the most playable and widely applicable from all of the cards currently in Series 4. And I think it's a great sign of goodwill that they want players to get cards that they want to play with as soon as possible, that they chose these 4 to make more accessible first, as opposed to any of the other 6 that all really have struggled to find good homes in the current Marvel Snap metagame. Looking at what we know from these first set of series downgrades, I think we can speculate on a few things about the future. This group of cards here being downgraded from Series 5 to 4 is essentially the November Series 5 cards from Marvel Snap when this system was first implemented. Since they are being downgraded at the end of January, this is 2 months later. If this trend holds, that means I would expect the Series 5 cards from December, in this case Silver Surfer, Null, Sentry, and Darkhawk, to downgrade at the end of February. Looking forward to speculation on how cards will downgrade from Series 4 to Series 3. It is noteworthy that there are fewer cards downgrading from 4 to 3 in this initial set of downgrades. That being said, you'll also note that there aren't any current previous season pass cards in Series 4, so my expectation moving forward is that we will see the same number of cards go from 5 to 4 and 4 to 3 every single month. Something else that I expect is that the total number of cards being downgraded between series month to month is likely to not be exactly the same. This is because there are 8 4-week seasons in Marvel Snap each year, while there are 4 5-week seasons as well. Our current season that we are in now for January is one of those 5-week seasons, meaning we are getting a season pass card plus 4 additional weekly releases during this season. So I expect that when these January cards eventually downgrade at the end of March, we'll see 5 downgrades as opposed to 4. So Where does all this information leave us? Well, we know for a fact that the Marvel Snap team has told us that their release goals are to have it so every time a Series 5 card gets added, a card gets demoted to Series 4 and then Series 3. In their announcement about these initial series drop, they made a point to call out that it currently requires them to patch the client in order to change cards between series. So I don't expect that we'll get weekly downgrades across all of the series anytime soon, but that might be something that happens in the future. In the meantime, I would expect there to be these end of the month batch demotions of all of the cards from 2 months prior. Looking at this plan and how the rotations currently line up, it looks like this means it will be taking 2 months for a card to get from the starting Series 5 release into Series 4, and then another 2.5 months to get from the Series 4 to the widely accessible Series 3. There were two other tidbits of information included with the announcement about these initial series downgrades. The first of these is that they're going to be implementing a first edition badge for people that get Series 5 cards early. This is essentially a whale bait slash collector's incentive to encourage people who want fancy things like this to get all of the cards early, spending money to do so. They also are acknowledging the incredible amount of talk in the community about does this collection system work in general. They acknowledge that their existing Series 5 release system has made it so a lot of these new card releases fall very flat for a majority of the community, and they call out that they are hoping to be able to smooth this out in the future, but they also didn't give us any concrete timelines or ideas on exactly how they plan to implement those changes. What's your opinion on these initial Series 5 to 4 and 4 to 3 downgrades? Do you think these timelines that Second Dinner has put out for us are reasonable, with 2 months going from 5 to 4 and looking to be 2.5 months to go from 4 to 3? Or is this just too long of a time frame for players who are still working on their Series 3 collections to get access to these new and exciting cards? What do you think is the best way Second Dinner could go about making it so players still completing their Series 3 can have faster access to these newer cards that they're seeing folks playing with and they're playing against themselves? I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of these things in the comment section of this video here. As always, if you found yourself enjoying my takes on this topic, I'd encourage you to tap that like button. It's an absolutely free way for you to help this video reach more people here on YouTube. Thank you, as always, to the people that watched all the way to the end of the video. If you happen to be someone that's new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I post Marvel Snap game news updates like this, as well as deck highlights and other tidbits here 7 days a week, and I'd love to see you back again sometime in the future. Enjoy the rest of your night, and happy snapping, folks.